أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
ربنا علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Our Lord, Sustainer, instill in us what is beneficial to us and benefit us by what you have instilled in us and increase us in knowledge. وصلي اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد. As usual, we are re-entering into our maqam of ibadiyah. نحن عباد الله, and we are re-entering into that maqam in order to ask of Allah a beautiful request, to present our request to Him. And our request is coming up, and that's the what? That's the whole surah is just for that request. What's the request? Ihdina الصراط المستقيم. And we already spoke about that. Ihdina meaning not guide us, but guide us or gift us. الصراط المستقيم, because there's no preposition, there's no ila. Ihdina ila, that would mean like to a road, to a path. But when you say Ihdina الصراط المستقيم, it means gift it to us. Gift it to us. Guide us, but guide us as a gift. So we are now re-entering into that maqam to present our request. Today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the significance of noon, na'budu, nasta'een, ihdina. So we have that noon here, which is what? Noon al-jama'ah. And this shows the importance of the jama'ah. The meaning of ihdina, as we said, was gift guide us. And the meaning of al-sirat and the meaning of al-mustaqeem. Each one has a separate meaning. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the sirat al-mustaqeem and some confusion about the sirat al-mustaqeem or the sirat itself. And then we're going to talk upon whom was Allah's in'am. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. So upon whom was Allah's in'am? And al-maghdubi alayhim wad-dallin has been postponed till next week. Reason being that next week we will do what? We will wrap it up and call it fait accompli. It's a done deal, inshallah. So that's our program for today. So the entrance is an acknowledgement. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. All of that. We're not asking anything yet. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. We have not asked anything yet. What are we doing? We are entering. That's the entrance of acknowledgement. We are acknowledging who we are and who our Rabb is, and we are going to ask Him as the Rabb of all the world, the compassionate Creator, the unceasingly merciful, to Ihdina as-Siraat al-Mustaqeem. So that's the entrance. And it is the highest maqam. Why? Because it's a maqam which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worshippers have chosen. It's not a maqam by force. Anything which you do while enforced is not really your maqam. Your maqam is what you do by choice, what you work for, what you work hard for. That's your maqam. And so we enter with all those beautiful praises and glorifications into the highest maqam by choice, the maqam of Ibaad, not Abid, as we spoke of last week. But we do so not alone. We do not do so alone. We are part of a larger community, all of whom are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iyaka na'bud, iyaka nasta'een, ihdina. So if you think about it, the Faatihah seems to be something very private between me and Allah, or between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet it's in the plural. Na'bud, nasta'een. Even even though most of the time we're praying alone. Why? To make you feel that you are part, to make you know and realize that you are part of a whole. And also for what? What's also important, not just to make you feel something, but that when you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are not being selfish and asking only for yourself, you are asking for everyone. And that is like a sunnah of our dua. When we ask, we always ask, وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَجْمَعِينَ. We always ask for everybody. So it's not just me, it's my community and everybody. Na'budu, it doesn't say who. Everybody who is Ibaad, this is your dua for them as well. Iyaka na'bud. What's the meaning of na'bud? We talked about that last week. It is about being in humble worship and adoration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We humbly worship and adore you. Adoration today might give you the feeling of being about just love, oh, I adore that, whatever. But adoration, if you look it up in the English lexicon, it's about worship. It's a kind of worship. Adoration is ultimate worship. So you are talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you say, we humbly worship and adore you, na'bud, and we seek your support, nasta'een. Who is doing that? Nahnu. Who is nahnu in Arabic? It is us. But look at the difference between nahnu and us. We have 3 letters in nahnu. We have 1 letter in na'bud, which is about us. It is the noon. In nasta'in, it is the noon. In nahnu, it is 2 noons. It is the noon at the beginning and the noon at the end. And in the middle is what? The ha. Who remembers our talk about the meaning of sound? So noon is something which is hidden, concealed, suppressed. It's not clear. It's just noon. But the ha is about the hub of stimulation. I put the word hub on purpose because hub is hub. It's the hub of stimulation and endearment. It's about love. Remember, we took that a few weeks ago. We took the meanings of sounds in Arabic. We spoke about Ibn Jinni, who 1,000 years ago wrote a book, and in it he put the ma'ani al-aswat. And we found out at that time that every sound has a meaning. And that meaning goes back to the earliest human communication when the bashar, even before Adam came about. Adam, as we know, is the cognizant being. Adam is the one to whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the asma. So Adam had already been given the capacity to learn the asma. But before Adam, as a cognizant human being, that creature or those creatures were bashar. And the bashar from the bishara. فَإِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. So after the taswiyah, so this is the bashar, but after the taswiyah, and after I give that bashar of my ruh, at that time, you should be falling in respect. And of course, Iblis did not want to do that. So the ha here is about what? It is the hub of stimulation and endearment. These are the sounds which the earliest humans were able to make before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the cognizance and the asma. So it is part of our what? Part of our existence before we even had the ability to use names. But the use of names is super important. There's nothing more important. Now, after my research, actually, I can say there is nothing more important than words and using the correct words to indicate what you want to say. خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. The bayan, meaning the clarity in exposition, in articulation, that is the clarity of that is the most important thing humanity has. Without that clarity, we lose a lot. And you shall see now as we go through, and you've seen last week and the week before, how that loss of clarity has caused us to lose our Quranic knowledge and to lose our deen sometimes, and to lose so much of our dunyana. We have lost not just deen, we have lost our dunya because we're using the wrong words and we don't understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. It all has to do with correct names. So here, even the sounds have meaning. Nahnu is about something which is hidden and concealed, but it is full of love. It is the hub of stimulation and endearment and love. Noon is one of the most beautiful sounds that you can have. And actually, what is very strange is that the N in English, if you look at it here below, it came from the hieroglyphic noon. This noon, the hieroglyphic noon, look at it. What does it mean? It means water. The hieroglyphic noon is wavy like the waves of the sea, and it means water. Subhanallah. وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. The noon, Prophet Yunus, the noon, he of the noon. So there's a lot which comes together in what people call mythology. Mythology or asatir, it's not fabrication. You know, like they say Greek mythology, and then they talk about the gods of so-and-so, or whatever mythology, and they talk about different powers and dragons and, Chinese mythology. Mythology has a basis in reality. What reality? It's the reality of what people of a certain time felt or thought and how they expressed that. So much of Egyptology, those who study Egyptology, like hieroglyphics and what have you, they find that there probably was a prophet there. If you study much of what is called mythology today and you remove those rumuz, those personages that are there as archetypes. So like you say that the god of thunder, the god of war, the god of whatever. These are archetypes. People don't actually worship them. They are archetypes who are, each of them is using the name of one of God's powers. So subhanallah, if you really studied history, I haven't, but if you have, you will notice that everything boils down to very similar stories. And that's why sometimes they accuse Islam of having taken from other compilations, having taken from other faiths, other religions, other whatever they want to call it. And it hasn't. Of course, the Qur'an hasn't taken anything from anyone. But Allah is one. Humanity is one. His teachings are one. His instructions are one. But they have come at different times to different people. And people retain in their minds and in their memories certain things. And these things often are very similar. So we all supplicate as his humble dependent in preparation for a most urgent request, which is what? Ihdina الصراط المستقيم. Guide us, grant us out of your love. And that's exactly what it means. Grant us out of your love. Hada is to guide, to grant, or gift something to someone you love. Quoted in the Prophet's hadith, peace upon him, tahadu tahabu. And the term hadi is what we use for animals whom we have prepared for sacrifice. So the request is what? Gift, guide us, the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. Not to, without to. Just gift, guide us, the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. Gift it to us. And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Ihdina. Ihdina الصراط المستقيم. What's the meaning of Siraat? Siraat, similar to what's in Latin now. Now, people say that the Siraat is a Latin word. No, there are no foreign words. Qur'anan Arabiyan. It is an Arabi Qur'an. There is nothing in it that is Ajami. Nothing in it that is Ajami. Ajami means non-Arabic. There is nothing in it that is Ajami. Everything in it is Arabi. Arabi is, sorry, I shouldn't have said Arabic. I meant Arabi. Because Arabi means that it is articulate, it is eloquent, it's mu'rib, it gives you the meaning. It's not about ethnicity. So I might say, well, ana Arabi, I'm Arab. Yes, that's possible. I might say I'm speaking Arabi and I'm speaking my colloquial Syrian dialect, or I'm reading a book and I'm saying I'm reading an Arabic book. Fine, that is Arabic. But the Quran is not Arabic. The Quran is Arabi. So when I'm writing in my book, I always make a difference between Arabi and Arabic to show that there is a difference. Arabi means it is perfect in its what? In saying what it means. And this is what I always tell people, please don't make the Quran, you are making the Quran more difficult than it is. Quran is saying exactly what it means. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying exactly what he means. Just find out what the word means. That's it. So simple. No need to complicate. So the word Siraat, in English, the word street comes from that. The word street comes from stratum in Latin. Strada, Strasse. It's a prepared path or course. What do I mean by prepared? Meaning it's not a natural path. It has been prepared, as if it has been paved, as if it has been opened, as if it has been leveled. It has been made into a path or course. You can look here at the etymology online. It says, in the Middle Ages, a road or a way was merely a direction in which people rode or went, but the name street was reserved for a made road. Made meaning leveled, prepared for people to use. And that's exactly what As-Siraat al-Mustaqeem is about. As far as what? As far as wording, just the word, not what it is, but just the meaning of the word. So, In Arabic, the word mustaqeem is about something which has been made, what? Made قوم فاستقام. Oh, so mustaqeem does not mean straight? No. Mustaqeem does not mean straight. It means straightened. قوم فاستقام. قوم meaning it was made, it was straightened. فاستقام. What is straight? qiyam or qiyam. So you notice that, for example, deen. What does Allah say about his deen? Deenan qiyaman. The deen is qiyam. The Siraat is mustaqeem. So the Siraat has been made straight by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our benefit. As for the deen, it was not made straight. The deen is qiyam in itself. However, it was completed for us, right? So to akmaltu, an'amtu, and all of that is the words which Allah uses for his deen. Whereas for the Siraat, he says mustaqeem. So he has made it what? Straightened, made it straight. And there's something very interesting to notice here, that the Siraat in the original language of the Arab and the way it should be written is with a sin, not with a sad. So if you look here on top where the words are, الصراط or الصراط الطريق الواضح السهل الذي يسلكه المرء في مر وذهاب حتى لكأنه يغيب فيه. And the root verb is sarata. It talks about something that gets swallowed. Like you walk in it, it's a long path, and then you get swallowed in the path. And that's about, it's used usually for food, sarata. And of course, from that word comes the word saratan, which is, the creature and also the disease. So the interesting thing is that, as Al-Farra tells us, Al-Farra, who lived in the year 144 Hijri, he was born, died in 207. He tells us that the sin and the sad, they are similar in their makhraj, but the sad is the language of Quraysh. That's how they used to pronounce it, Siraat. But of course, that could be one reason why it's the sad, not the sin. Definitely are other reasons related to what? To the mathematical, as we said, each word, each sound has a weight in the Qur'an related to the mathematical weight of that word and that sound. So if somebody were to count how many times the sad, how many times the sin, and sort of make that kind of calculation, they would notice that there's a reason for the sad, not the sin. Not just that it's the language of Quraysh. There's a reason for that. And you can see it here also in another word, أَمْ عِنْدَهُمْ خَزَائِنُ رَبِّكَ أَمْ هُمُ الْمُصَيْطِرُونَ. Now also the sad musaytirun here, and hon also in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُصَيْطِرٍ. It's a sad, whereas also both of these words are about saytara, which is with a sin. And we do know that the Prophet, peace upon him, said, write it with a sad. We know that because before the Prophet, peace upon him, left this earth, the Qur'an was written. And there are realities which we are finding out today, which we never knew before. The Qur'an was written during the Prophet's time, not as history tells us. Of course, history is always written by somebody. And as we can even see today, what are they going to write? I mean, look at history today. Let's write about what's happening today. You will have like at least two different accounts, at least two, not different, I mean two clashing accounts of what's happening today, historic accounts. Which one's going to be the one our great-great-great-great-grandchildren read and think is true? I bet you it's the one which will have more money behind it. The one which will have more power and money behind it is the version of history which our great-great-great-grandchildren will read. They will not know the truth. Even today, we don't know much of the truth. So history cannot be believed 100% at all. There's always room for a lot of difference. So Mustaqeem is straightened. Qawama, straight, upright. Quwima is in the passive voice, made straight, made upright. Al-Mustaqeem, alladhi quwima, fastaqama, wa'tadala, wastawa. So this Siraat now is Mustaqeem. It is now straightened, meaning it is perfect now, but it wasn't before. Now, the interesting thing, when we read the Qur'an, we realize from Iblis's exchange, when he talks about the Siraat al-Mustaqeem, we realize that it is located in life. The Siraat al-Mustaqeem is located in life. It's not something which is in the afterlife. Why? Look what he says. Iblis, he says that I'm going to sit in ambush. He talks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. He says, I'm going to sit in ambush upon your Siraat al-Mustaqeem. And then I'm going to come from in front of them and from the back of them and from the right of them and from the left of them. And you won't find any of them productive. So Iblis is talking about the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. He's going to sit there, sit on the Siraat. So where's the Siraat? He's talking about us not becoming shakirin, not becoming productive. We're talking about life here. He's talking about us. He's going to sit on the Siraat. He's going to come from the front and the back and the left and the right. Where is that? That's in life. And what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He said, هَذَا صِرَاطٌ عَلَيَّ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
answers and says, you know what? Upon me shall be the directing to the straightened path. Upon me, alayya. Alayya is like when somebody says alayya something, it means that it's like I'm placing that action as something I need to do. Alayya. So he says, هذا صراط علي مستقيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that to whom? To Iblis. Inna ibadi, indeed my worshippers, ليس لك عليهم سلطان إلا من اتبعك من الغاوين. You shall have no authority over them, over my sincere worshippers. إلا من اتبعك من الغاوين. Other than those who follow you. So now we realize why the Fatiha is such an important rukn of our salah. Your salah is voided if you forget the Fatiha. So I mean, which means that even one rak'ah is voided. So let's say you prayed one rak'ah forgetting the Fatiha, you have to repeat that rak'ah. Why? Because of this. The Fatiha is most important. It's of the highest importance. It's an integral part. It's the rukn of our prayer. In every rak'ah, you have to pray and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be in that maqaam and ask for that hadiyah and huda of the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. So what and where is it? Actually, some people don't know. And very few people are the ones who are able to stay on the Siraat by the grace of Allah and by their own fitrah without actually knowing where it is. There are many people who don't really know where it is, but they are on the Siraat by their fitrah, by knowing what's right and wrong. But people who, many people need to know what's right and wrong. We need, it's difficult them not knowing where the Siraat is. So inshallah, today we're going to know exactly where the Siraat is. If you ask any Muslim about the Siraat, where is al-Siraat al-Mustaqeem? This shows you the critical importance of names and attributes. Where is al-Siraat al-Mustaqeem? Very few Muslims will be able to tell you where it is. If you ask them, where is al-Siraat al-Mustaqeem? Very few will be able to tell you where it is. And here again, once again, we realize the importance of what? Of attribute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allama Adam al-asma'a kullaha, before he gave him what? The do's and don'ts. Before he told him do and don't, he gave him. So this shows us again the importance of al-asma. Rabb al-Alameen allama Adam al-asma'a kullaha. Before he told him what? Don't go near the tree. He gave him al-asma first, and he told him inna ash-shaytana lakum aduwan, yani lil-hadar fahdharuh. The shaitan is your enemy. And there's a lot that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Adam before he actually went ahead and ate from that tree. So if you don't know the asma, you cannot be given direction. You need to know the asma. So this is very sad that till today, there are so many Muslims who do not know where the Siraat al-Mustaqeem is or what it is. This shows you the importance of what? Of asma. It's crucial. Would you believe it if I told you that most Muslims have merged two concepts together, the Siraat al-Mustaqeem with something else called al-Jisr? Even in Arabic, one is called al-Siraat al-Mustaqeem, the second one is called al-Jisr. Siraat al-Mustaqeem is the straightened path. Al-Jisr is the bridge. They're two different things, yet most of us think they are one. By thinking they are one and looking to the bridge, thinking it is the Siraat al-Mustaqeem, we lost knowledge of the actual Siraat al-Mustaqeem. And that is a tragedy beyond tragedy. What I mean to say is that it's an example of what we've been doing for a long time, for centuries. By losing those asma, we are losing our deen. We are losing our closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are losing our understanding of Qur'an. By losing the asma, let us put the right asma to the right musammayat, like the names to whom they belong to or to what they belong to. And then you will see everything falling into place. This is what I'm trying to do with my research. I'm trying to give everything its proper ism or sima or characteristic or attribute. The straightened path merged in people's minds with something called al-Jisr, the bridge. Maybe in all good intention, somebody, a writer, a teacher, a da'i, a scholar, somebody hundreds of years ago, not originally, definitely, not during the Prophet's time, later on, somebody started calling al-Jisr, which is the bridge, Jisr al-Siraat, like the Siraat bridge. When that happened, the Siraat al-Mustaqeem was lost. This is the Siraat bridge. It's not called the Siraat bridge. I don't know who called it that. It's in a hadith, and it's not called the Siraat bridge. It's just called al-Jisr, the bridge. And here it is in Arabic. I just pointed it to you so you'll see. It's just called al-Jisr, وَمَا and all that is called is al-Jisr. What's it about? Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri we, the companions of the Prophet, peace upon him, said, "O Allah's Messenger, what is the bridge?" He said, "It's a slippery bridge on which there are clamps and hooks." And he likened them to this, and he said, this is what they are like. They are like this thorny plant which we have here in Arabia, and that's what it's like. And he was, comparing what will happen on that bridge to something like this. And he said some people, some of the faithful will cross the bridge as quickly as the wink of an eye, some others as quick as lightning, or strong wind, or fast horses, or she-camels. Some will be safe without any harm. Some will be safe after receiving some scratches with those thorns, and some will be falling down into Jahannam. And the last person to cross will be dragged over the bridge, meaning to cross safely, will be dragged over the bridge. That's Sahih Bukhari. Now, Bukhari is before Muslim. So I noticed in many of Bukhari's hadith, there are things which in Muslims' hadith are elaborated upon, like more information is added in Muslims' hadith because he came later. So when he's gathering hadith, you will find some hadiths have been elaborated upon. So in Muslims, it says, I heard that the bridge is narrower than a hair and sharper than a sword. So if you notice here, there is no such description in Bukhari's hadith. In Muslims' hadith, there is the word narrower than a hair and sharper than a sword. But this is not Siraat. Some people have called it the Siraat bridge. You look it up on Google, on Wikipedia, it will tell you the Siraat bridge. I don't know why they added the word Siraat. I put it here in red. It's wrong. In the hadith, it's not there. The hadith does not contain that. The hadith is about what? About something else. It's about the bridge in the hereafter. Whereas the Siraat al-Mustaqeem is not the same as the bridge. It's a different ism, different thing with a different musamma. Let us look at other traditions. You will find the Shinbat bridge, and it's also called, see what they write here? According to ancient, this is not my words, these are all taken from the encyclopedia. According to ancient Persian myth, Zoroastrian myth, when a person dies, the soul remains by the body for 3 days. On the 4th, it travels to the Shinbat bridge, at the bridge of the separator, also called Al-Siraat. So it's called Al-Siraat by the Zoroastrians or the Persians. Now, how that happened, I don't know. Maybe that's what they call it originally, but it got mixed up with the Siraat al-Mustaqim. And look at this. The bridge is finer than a hair, sharper than a sword, and spans a deep chasm teeming with monsters. On the other side of the bridge is the gateway to paradise. You find that in many faiths. I'm not just saying in Zoroastrian faiths. In many faiths you will find. Here in Sikhism, they call it the Sikhs, they have the same thing. The devotee's lifestyle is unique and distinct. They follow the most difficult. They renounce greed, avarice, pride, and they do not talk. The path they take is sharper than a two-edged sword and finer than a hair. So that idea of what sharper than a two-edged sword, finer than a hair, that is in so many traditions. I found this interesting here about Zoroastrian faith. They believed in one universal, transcendent, all good and uncreated supreme deity, and the creator. In their language, he's called Ahura Mazda, or the wise Lord. And an adherent of the faith is commonly called a Zoroastrian or a Zarathustrian. An older expression, listen to this, still in use today is Behdeen, meaning the best religion. So see the word deen? There's the word deen again. We are more alike than you think. Humanity is more alike than we imagine. We should not be fighting each other. We have so much in common. Now, the bridge does not appear in Judeo-Christian tradition. You don't have detail about it. But enthusiasts have added it to strengthen their argument. And so they say that the cross is the bridge, and you go across the cross and you are saved from falling into hell. So faiths have added that to their repertoire. But that's not the Siraat al-Mustaqim. That's not the Siraat That's Al-Jisr, the bridge. What about Al-Siraat al-Mustaqim? Only twice in the Qur'an do we find Al-Siraat al-Mustaqim with a definite article, the. We find it in Al-Faatihah, guide us to the straightened path, and we find it in Surah Al-Saffat, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about whom. Isn't it interesting? Who else besides us had Al-Sirat Al-Mustaqim? Because the word Siraat comes in the Qur'an. It appears quite a bit. The word Mustaqeem appears. Siratan Mustaqiman. Without without the al-ta'rif, without the. So the is a definite article. It's talking about something specific. Okay. So that specific Siraat, the one which is al-Mustaqeem, is mentioned only twice in the Qur'an, once related to Al-Faatihah, Ihdina, الصراط المستقيم, and once related to whom? Wow, to Musa and Harun. We earlier bestowed our favor upon Musa and Harun, and we delivered them and their people from the Al-Karb al-Azim, the great calamity. وَنَصَرْنَاهُمْ, we helped them so that they overcame, and we gave them what? Al-Kitab al-Mustabeen, the compilation which makes things clear. وَهَدَيْنَاهُمَا الصراط المستقيم. So that is a big clue. So we have been given, gift guided to الصراط المستقيم. I should not put the word to. Remind me to remove that. هديناهما إلى, there's no إلى. هديناهما الصراط المستقيم. And we gift guided them the صراط المستقيم. Isn't that strange that they have it too? It's not. Let's see why. The straightened path in the Quran, and then I'll show you the straightened path in the Old Testament. This is the straightened path in the Quran. And here we have al-muharramat ala sirat al-mustaqim, or muharramat al-sirat al-mustaqim, the inviolables on the straightened path. In Surah Al-An'am 6, 151 to 153. As you count them, look below here, you will notice that they are 10. And that gives you a clue. Why did Musa and Harun also have the Sirat al-Mustaqim? Because they had the 10 commandments. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Sirat al-Mustaqim to both Musa and Harun and to Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. Isn't that amazing? What about Prophet Isa? Isa did not need to get it because he was following the book of, or the compilation of, and the 10 commandments. So the 10 commandments are his too, but he did not receive them. The one who received them were Musa and Harun. So let's look at them. Say, ta'ala, rise. Ta'ala from ulu, rise. And I will rehearse what your Lord Sustainer has made inviolable for you. So you have to rise up to what? Rise up to the standard of accepting that. What is it? Number one, that you shirk nothing with him. Allah tushriku bihi shayk. You shirk nothing with him. Two, ultimate goodness to parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Khalas, ultimate goodness. 3, kill not your children due to poverty. We provide sustenance for you and for them. 4, come not near pervasive sexual atrocity, neither what is overt of it, nor what is covert of it. And you know what? Before the internet and things like that, we didn't know what's covert. Overt sexual atrocity, okay, but what's covert? Covert is when you're alone and you do it. So number 4, come not near pervasive sexual atrocity. What is overt, what is covert? 5, do not kill the self, the human self, which Allah has made inviolable. 6, come not near the wealth of an orphan, except for that which is best. Except for that which is best until he attains full strength. 7, render measure and weight with full justice. We do not charge a self beyond what it can contain. Nobody is charged beyond what they can hold. Number 8, whenever you speak, speak justly, even if a near relative is concerned. Number 9, in the covenant of God, be fulfilling. Thus does he instruct you forward. Al-wasiyah is something that is given forward. Thus does he instruct you forward that you may remember or reflect. And number 10, look at number 10. Indeed, verily, this is my straightened path. وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا. This is my straightened path. Allah is telling you, this is it. Pursue it. Pursue not the byways. They will divert you all from his way. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ. Thus does he instruct you forward. ذَلِكُمْ وَصَّاكُمْ بِهِ. So that you may be aware. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So this might be a surprise for some of you and not a surprise for others. But most Muslims will be surprised when they realize that the Siraat al-Mustaqeem is about our life, not about the bridge. It's about, just look at it. Where does Shaitan, where did he promise? He said, I will lie in wait for them. I will ambush them. Where? Upon the Siraat. Just look at those words. Look at those numbers and see where he can ambush us. He ambushes us with shirk. He ambushes us with our parents, how we treat them. He ambushes us when we think of poverty and we think that we're going to not be able to feed our kids. He ambushes us way big time with pervasive sexual atrocities, both the overt and the covert. He ambushes us with the way we take care of orphans, with measure and weight and justice. He ambushes us when we speak. He ambushes us when we don't use the correct names. Subhanallah, when you think about it, you come to realize that the best place he can ambush us, the best place he can really wreak the most havoc upon us and destroy everything that we're trying to build is by mixing up the names for us, not letting us understand what Allah says. If he mixes up the names and we use different names for what Allah is telling us to do, khalas, we're lost. And that's what he does. That's the easiest thing for him to do. Just mix up the names. Just call the jisr Siraat. And then you forget about the Siraat and you think about the jisr over Jahannam. You're thinking about your death. Allah is showing you your life. This is the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. May Allah forgive us. Ya Rabb. So the call to enlightenment and transcendence is shared by all messages to humanity. And it all begins with deen, with accountability. Allah has what? شرع لكم من الدين as a system, accountability, what he has instructed Nuh. So it's from the time of Nuh that Allah tells us what? Uphold the standard of accountability and do not separate in it from one another. Do you know that no deen can stand, deen and qiyaman, no deen, however, can stand if we are divided. We have to uphold the deen together. If we do not uphold the deen together, the deen will never be upheld. That's what, in a nutshell. It's a slap in the face. You're divided, your deen will not be upheld. It's a slap in the face. Too great to the shirkers, the mushrikeen, is what you invite them to. You, O Muhammad, invite them to. God gathers and holds to himself whomever wills or whomever he wills. And he guides to himself whoever returns wholeheartedly to him with love and a feeling of returning home. All of that whole line, which I just put there as an explanation, is only for us to understand the word yunib. Yahdi ilayhi man yunib. So when you say that Allah will guide whomever wills or whomever he wills, which one is it? Will Allah guide me because he wills it or also because I will it? If I want to be guided, ya tara, I wonder, if I want to be guided, will Allah not guide me? Well, this ayah shows you, yes. Yahdi ilayhi man yunib. Whoever. The word inaba, it's a beautiful drive in us. It's our spiritual drive. Al-inaba. We want to yunib. We want to return home. Al-inaba is to return to a place you are accustomed to and you love. That's the meaning. That's the definition of the word inaba. And Allah says here, Yahdi ilayhi man yunib. He guides to him. He gathers and guides to him whoever wants to return home to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever wants to return lovingly to his home. So when Allah says, in Allah yahdi man yasha, the yasha has a pronoun. Allah guides whomever he wills to guide, yes, but it also can be read whoever wishes to be guided. Yasha could have the pronoun الضمير أن يعود على الله أو يعود على الشخص الذي يريد الهداية. Subhanallah. Arabic is fantastic. Arabic is beautiful. Let's look at Buddhism just quickly. The straight path to awareness in Buddhism. The 5 precepts are: do not kill, do not steal, do not indulge in sexual misconduct, do not make false speech, do not take intoxicants. And then there's 5 more. Refrain from taking food at inappropriate times. Refrain from singing, dancing, playing music. I mean, it's quite strict if you notice Buddhism. Refrain from wearing perfume, cosmetics, garlands. Refrain from sitting on high chairs and sleeping on luxurious soft beds. Now look at that. Look at the humbleness of Buddhism. And refrain from accepting money. So the 5 precepts, do not kill, do not steal, they are so close to our 10 commandments. And then they added those. I'm sure these were additions. These were not in the originals because Buddhism was way before what? Before Judaism. Buddhism is much older. And just a word in between brackets that Buddha could be Dhul Kifl. He could be the Nabi mentioned in the Qur'an as Dhul Kifl. Why? Because his town was Kapil. And we know that F and P in language, they can exchange places like Philistine, Palestine, right? Persia, Faris. So Kapil, Kafil. So Dhul Kifl is possibly Buddha who was living in a town called Kapil. Dhul Kifl means he of the Kifl. And of course we know that Buddha, he was teaching and received his enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. And the Bodhi tree is a fig tree. And now we can understand better the surah, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. 4 locations on earth with great messengers. At-Teen could be Buddha. Dhul Kifl could be. وَالزَّيْتُونَ, Jesus, peace upon him. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَطُورِ سَيْنَاء, Moses, peace upon him. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, Mecca. Wallahu a'lam. We always say Wallahu a'lam. We don't know. What about the Bible? straight path in the Bible? Yes. This is from the Old Testament. Moses called all Israel and said to them, hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them and keep them and do them. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. أَلَّا تُشْرِكُ بِهِ شَيْئًا. Honor thy father and thy mother as thy Lord has commanded. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Thou shalt not kill, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا, nor commit adultery. What's that? The fahisha, the fahsha. Nor shalt thou steal, nor shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. And in the Qur'an, it was against, even if it's your relative. وَلَوْ كَانَ ذَا قُرْبَى. Thou shalt not desire your neighbor's wife. You shall not turn aside to the right or to the left. You shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God has commanded you. Teach me your way, Yahweh. Lead me in a straight path. Lead me in a straight path. It's in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Except that in Arabic, it doesn't say Siraat Mustaqeem. It says Sabil Mustaqeem. So it doesn't use the word Siraat. It uses the word Sabil. Siraat الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. The path of those upon whom you have accorded your grace, not those who have incurred severity, nor those who are astray. Today we're not going to have time to talk about those who incurred severity and those who are astray. And I did not prepare that because I wanted to finish on a high positive note. So we're going to talk only about the path of those upon whom you have accorded your grace. What grace? أنعمت عليهم. What ni'mah? You tell me. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها من نعمة. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها من نعمة. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. The path of those upon whom you have accorded grace. What grace is it? It's the grace of Islam. Ya Rabb. Who are they? Here we have Surah Maryam, ayah 58, and here we have Surah Nisa, ayah 69. Who are they upon whom has been grace? These were some of the prophets on whom Allah did bestow His grace, of the posterity of Adam, and of those who we carried with Noah, and of the posterity of Ibrahim and Israel, and of those whom we guided and chose. Israel is Jacob, of course. Whenever the signs, the ayat of Allah most gracious were rehearsed to them, ayatul Rahman. Ayatul Rahman are not just the ayat of what? Of the compilation. Ayatul Rahman have to do with the creation, because Ar-Rahman is the compassionate creator. So whenever the ayat of Ar-Rahman were rehearsed to them, they would fall down in prostrate adoration and in tears. They are the ones who have been given the grace of Allah, and they are the ones whom we would like to have the same grace. And then that's Surah Maryam, and now Surah Nisa. All who obey Allah and the Messenger are in the company of those upon whom is the grace of Allah, of the prophets, the sincere, the witnesses, and the doers of good, the righteous. What a beautiful fellowship. حسن أولئك رفيقا. What a beautiful fellowship. We want that. We want ربنا يهدينا to gift guidance. الصراط المستقيم. And we want to be in that fellowship. Ya Rab, may we be in that fellowship. With whom? With the prophets, Nabiyeen, the sincere, as-siddiqeen, the shuhada, the witnesses, and as-salihin, the righteous. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. May we be with them, Ya Rab. So in our humble yet highly honored maqaam of worship, Ibaad, we end on a high note today and present our request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَبَّنَا اهْدِنَا الصراط المستقيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. May God guide us there. So what we did today was we re-entered into our maqam to present our request. We understood the significance of the noon. We understood, even when I talked about the hieroglyphics in the Egyptology, you would notice that in their writings, what did they say? They said, in the beginning, there was noon and nothing else. What's the noon? It's the primordial water from which Allah created everything. And that's what they say in the Egyptians in their hieroglyphics. They talk about noon being the beginning. And we know that. وَمِنَ الْمَاءِ خَلَقْنَا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. From water. كَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ. It starts with water, and the noon signifies that. Noon means water. So we understood the significance of the noon, significance of Ihdina, the meaning of الصراط المستقيم, about the Siraat al-Mustaqeem. We got to the confusion about the Siraat with the Jisr, the bridge, and we learned that the 10 inviolables upon the Siraat are the 10 commandments, are the same in so many faiths, of which the origins of which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent definitely. And we understood upon whom was Allah's An'am, Siraat الذين أنعمت عليهم, and we asked Allah that we be of them. And with that, we conclude our session today. Alhamdulillah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين